our results. And this is a student that I was working with. He started off at phonological awareness where he was doing states a word and then he had to have a rhymes with the word. And he completed with, I can't read that. Oh, he completed the component. He made it through that component by December. In word attack, started with the states the sounds of the consonants. And by the end, he's working on reads orally one syllable CCVC words. So this is a fourth grader that he was struggling with just basic sounds of consonants. He started with fluency, high frequency words, and now he's working on blends and the two blends, and then he goes into a vowel and a consonant. Comprehension, he started at kindergarten. We ended it with him in second grade. Guided reading, he was at a level F at the beginning of the year, which is middle of first grade. And when he, at the end of the year, they just tested him at a level L, which is compared to the middle of the second grade. So he made some really good gains.
So then this next one is my kiddo that I had as a second grader who started with blending syllables together and then mastered all of the phonological awareness program part by January 4th. And then we started in October together, and he started by telling me just the sounds of short vowels. And by the end, he was reading VCCE words, like for example, it'd be like the endings of ent and left, and then he'll like connect them to sent, left, and connecting word families that way. He started letter names for fluency, and by the end, we were working on our blend words. We also started at a kindergarten level comprehension and ended at second grade. And this student ended at end of the year kindergarten, beginning of first grade, and then ended the year at a level I, which is end of first grade. So he's made a year's worth of growth from October to May, which was pretty awesome.
Is there like, I don't know, like read these 6 books over the side just so they don't slide back down as much as they're?
Unfortunately, this program does not have, it is very much teacher directed, so it can't be. We can provide books for them. We have, with the other literacy footprint program, we can provide them books at their level where they ended up and just say, please continue over the summer. Unfortunately, this program can't be done without us.
And with this, are you noticing any holes in things we need to like say, okay, kindergarten, we need to spend a little more time on this, or first grade, or second, third, whatever grade level it is. Oh, you need to work a little harder on this because we're noticing all the kids in this group are missing the J.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder for us to tell because we just work with special education. So that would be more looking at whole grade level data, I feel like. We couldn't say that just based off of our kids. I don't think that.
But I do think phonics is important. I think a lot of times they keep trying to, say, oh, if they just keep reading through it, but sometimes they'll come to a word and they don't know how to break it down. So I feel like that's a very valuable thing that we have picked up in this program.
See, and that was my question, is how do you go from third and fourth grader at a kindergarten level? Where did we miss that? As a school board, where did we miss that child?
This program, I feel like, is finding those holes because I think before we just assumed that they had them. Oh, you're past kindergarten, you're past first grade, you should have those. Just like I said, letter formation, I never imagined that my students wouldn't know how to draw the certain letters, but I'm definitely finding those holes now.
And I noticed once we got those vowel sounds done and we started learning how to break off.
Yes.
So it was just filling in some simple holes that were holding him back. It wasn't like you needed to go back to everything that was taught. It was just for this student, these were his gaps.
Once those holes were filled in,
then they felt absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
So ideally, what we would like to see, especially with the students that Johanna is working with, the lower level students, ideally, we'd like to see some of those students exit special ed
That's what I was gonna
based on this intervention alone. That's a hope, a prayer. I challenged, when we gave the presentation after school, I challenged Mr. Mortensen, Mr. Smith, to not really necessarily look at our buildings in silos, but Holly talked about a fourth grader that she worked with all this time, and now this kid's going to be moving on to fifth grade. you know, it'd be really nice for us to break down those walls and say, let's have Holly, who's trained in this kid, you know, I don't know if it'll work, I don't know, but
Follow the same.
follow that kid and use these, you know, you got two people who've become much better reading teachers and have an intensive program. Be nice to be able to use it for whatever kids can benefit from it. So I don't know, hopefully it'll turn into something like
That's my
that.
thought is, okay, we're
Mhm.
looking at special ed
Yep.
for this instance. How many other kids are we missing?
Mhm. Yeah, how many kids on this little sheet with the colors are they dropping because they had this one little hole that once they reiterate that, and COVID's gonna make those little holes a little bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Now, does this
Or more often.
education help? Do you communicate with the classroom teacher to say, hey, here's the strategies on how you identify, or so that they get a little inkling of what you're learning?
So that kind of goes to what we're doing this summer. Josh has created a SAT team thing as well. So we're looking at, as an elementary, what assessments would we like to see to identify those holes a little bit earlier? And then what interventions can we do? So that will be something that I know the elementary is working hard on as well. Now that we actually understand the program a little bit more, we should definitely communicate more so with the teachers. I think it'd be very beneficial for them as well to know those holes. We do a little bit, but I think we could do more with that.
It's this,
Is it, sorry,
no,
is it well received within the teacher group?
The teachers we work with are always very accepting, and they do small group, so it's easier for them to work it in with their word work part. So they're always accepting of everything that we have to say, and just want to help the kids too. So
and I was gonna ask, are there teachers that are interested in joining the program in the future?
There are some, and we had talked about that, but just because we are a pilot and that is such an expensive program, I mean, we're talking the $3,500 per teacher.
Oh, okay.
Per teacher. It's not just a
Program.
grade or a school, it's
Okay.
per teacher. And they have
That's a
to
lot,
be,
that's a lot of time.
and the time that goes into it. I mean, we were approved initially for 1 credit for ACP, but now we have 2 because of the hours that we have taken
Okay.
to put into this, investing into this program.
Couple questions for you. The growth that you saw in these kids, if you look back at your previous, if you would have compared it to what you've done in the past, what kind of growth difference maybe would you have seen in the kids that how much more growth did you see maybe? Can you say, if you worked with that same kid before this program, how much more growth did you see maybe than you would have seen? You know what I'm trying to ask?
It varies for students, and I have to say there are some that I'm working with that I saw not as much growth as I wish I would have seen. But I have to remember, I went all the way back to kindergarten, and until I start filling in, they had a lot more holes.
Right.
And so they struggled a lot more. And so until I start filling all those, I'm not going to see that growth until some of those holes keep getting filled. And so we're not going to see the growth that we want to right away. It's going to be a little bit longer of a process with some of them. But then some of these, they just had a few holes, and if I can fill those holes in, I'm going to see a lot more growth.
Right.
And I've had that same thought. So I actually, with my first grade group, one of them, I've done some with literacy footprints and then some with this. I mean, I still have to analyze the data, but I was very curious about that too. And I think it's very individualized for each student too. But then it'd be fun to have a conversation with Wendy too about, because they've received title with literacy footprints. And so this was kind of nice because it was another option outside of an intervention that they've also had too. So.
Well, I would say the other side of that is more so than likely, most students in special ed tend to see growth is not something you see in most special education
So
students.
once there are all.
I mean, you see some, but
it's just kind of-
when you see growth when you see a whole grade level growth in a special ed student,
That's awesome.
that's something you don't see very often. So that's kind of what I was trying to get at from this.
But I wish the results were across the board, but I can't say it's across the board.
Right,
Because there's
right.
some of my really struggling students that I didn't see as much growth,
Right.
but I saw some,
But
I-
I just
I-
might need like 3 more weeks, and I feel like
Right.
that's such
Yeah.
a vulnerable age, and like you just
Yes.
give them 1 more week, and then they just like
Yes.
take off, and
Yes.
it's like that's what you need, is just that little
Right.
bit longer.
The other piece I want to ask you is, and you did this as an
It's not
ACP project,
We did.
right? So remember, the ACP project was something we did a few years ago that we brought in for teachers to do something that they wanted to do on their own, that they would actually do and do it in the classroom to benefit themselves and receive credit or a stipend. So although 90 hours is quite a bit, you did get, how many credits did you get? 3 credits?
2.
2 credits.
Mhm.
So you got $1,000, was that $1,000? Is that what that was worth?
I think so.
Something,
I don't- We haven't
$1,000?
checked out of it yet.
So when we say, the reason we started ACP credit was, this is something that we approved as a school, as an ACP committee, to say Holly and Joanna wanted to do this. I mean, it's a lot of time, but something that we see value in it. It's not something from a university or a college, but it's a program that will benefit our students, benefit our kids, and will reward teachers with a stipend or a credit. And you can see what this does. That's why the ACP is such an awesome program, because it's something that we see kids do, benefit our kids and our teachers. So I applaud you guys for doing that and taking the time. And I appreciate you guys coming to share. And it's just awesome, the work that you guys did for it. So
I have to say that I think the satisfaction of this program and seeing those kids succeed by just filling, just the amount of work and.
I know when we were
It's gotta
working
be
on progress
awesome.
reports, it was very fun because sometimes we don't notice their growth because we're with them every day. But then to look back at where they were when we wrote our first progress report to the end, we're both like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
amazing how they've actually.
And I had quite a few of my kids actually meet their goal, and that's something that rarely happens with me.
Nice.
Yay,
Perfect.
good job.
Thank you.
thanks, Ross.
Anything else from the curriculum committee?
No. No.
No.
No, all right. Let's move on to
Sorry for
activities.
so much.
Activities. Let's see. We had a pretty lengthy meeting and we got a few things to talk about. We had pretty good spring attendance for pretty much everything. I think it was 152 kids in sports, and there was 35 kids out for the musical, and that came out with really good reviews. The kids were very happy with it and enjoyed it. 40 kids in fishing, 30 kids in trap. Let's see. We have this, so some things we need to talk about is our co-op with, what we want to do there. But then the other thing, we want to talk about some of the proposals or the expenditures that they're talking about for equipment, or is that something else we'll do later?
We can do that with budget committee at some budget.
Yeah, I mean, there's some needs that are coming up in the future, and we talked about that. It's like, well, I'll just hit them. There's some track equipment needs, baseball field warning track needs to be eliminated. And then some work done on the basketball hoops in the middle school gym. So anyway, did you want to break down the co-op?
Yeah, you want me to talk
Yeah,
about that?
please. You know the history better than I
Yeah,
do.
well, a few years ago, we started with trying to co-op with Little Falls and more activities. We talked about, since we're running a shuttle bus to Little Falls with, for lots of activities, swimming, gymnastics. One of the things that we had talked about and was looking at the wrestling co-op. We have not had very many kids in wrestling at the Brainerd High School. We've had a few, maybe 3 at the most at the high school level. We have made a commitment to start the elementary wrestling program. We are purchasing a new wrestling mat and a wrestling storage, rack to store it in the gym. So that's a pretty good commitment. And we do have Mr. Ben Horn, who is going to start, he's got a big wrestling background. He's going to start that elementary program. I think wrestling is a program that I believe we should have many more kids involved in wrestling with in our school. One of the things I think that's holding that back is the cost of that co-op. Wrestling tends to be a sport where kids that participate tend to come from more blue colored families. So when you come into that program and come participate in Brainerd, I think one of the things that holds our kids back is that fee to join and pay that fee over in Brainerd. I think that's one of the things. So right now we have the last kid is graduating that's in the Brainerd program right now. So I think now would be the natural time to look at switching that co-op if we're going to do that. In talking with Ben, who was starting that elementary program, and I believe he enclosed that letter that he had written with you guys, and he did share this with the activities committee. We felt that now would be a good time to dissolve the co-op with Brainerd and start the co-op with Little Falls. The advantage there would be rather than paying $800 to wrestle with Brainerd, it would be $150. And since we're already running a shuttle, once we get that elementary co-op or elementary program going, we're going to start seeing more and more middle school kids possibly wrestling. And when we get more kids going, I think not having to pay $800 to wrestle, there's no reason why we shouldn't have 10 to 15 kids every winter wrestling. So I think now, since we don't have any kids in the Brainerd program, I would recommend, and I think Matt would as well, with the support of Ben, who's starting that co-op or starting that elementary program, would be to dissolve the Brainerd co-op and start the co-op with Little Falls. And I would recommend that we do that now. And then start the elementary program, start the Little Falls co-op, and then run that bus down there. And eventually, maybe if we get enough kids, maybe we chip in with a coach down with Little Falls. If we had a coach at that middle school level, start recruiting that trail and get some kids involved. Maybe down the road, 10, 15 years, you have your own wrestling team. Who knows? But we got to start somewhere, and I think it's with that elementary program. And Ben's got that through Matt with the, I think that's next winter. Next winter, we have that developed already where Ben's going to do that in the winter. And we've made that commitment. So I would make that recommendation, and I know the activities, Becky and Randy would agree with that, I believe, after hearing and seeing Ben's email and his support to do that. I would make that recommendation to have you guys dissolve the Brainerd co-op. Now that you're not affecting anybody that's part of that program, now is a natural time to do that.
To give a little history, the cost is why, because we used to have a lot more kids participating in wrestling because we had a youth program. But when the cost went to what it was, we had so many kids struggling and they were dropping out. So then the board at that time didn't think it was fair to give them elementary wrestling with nowhere to go.
Sure.
Because they couldn't afford it. So now that there's an affordable option, yeah, I think it's a great idea to restart everything.
And that $800 is with the school kicking in $500.
Yeah, and that was with the school, yeah, so.
So it's actually $1,300.
Yeah, when we talk about it in committee to us, it's, if you can provide an opportunity that you have more kids participate, but certainly at that level, what does it matter other than you can get more kids to participate? Yes. It was a no-brainer. I ever heard no opposition to staying with Brainerd. I don't know what they would offer that's different than Little Falls that would make us consider Brainerd, but the cost is huge, to get more kids to participate.
And I think since we're already running a shuttle, to gymnast, swimming, dance, we do have five girls, I think, that are signing up for dance for next winter. So it just we may end up running a bus down there versus a van next year. Eventually it may be a bus as we get more and more kids. But so we need a motion to do that.
So I make a motion. Do we have to dissolve the Brainerd co-op or?
Yep,
So I make a motion, we dissolve the Brainerd Co-op and we enter into a co-op with Little Falls for wrestling and other approved sports.
I would second that.
Becky's gonna second that. Any other discussion?
No.
This was in the works for a couple of years. So,
Yeah,
and Little Falls has treated us wonderfully for all our kids.
yeah, I haven't heard any complaints, so being
Yeah.
falls at this point. So let's do
Sounds
a roll call on our,
Aye.
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 Becky?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Anything else from activities?
The only one other thing I wanted to add was that the girls' junior high softball numbers have really increased, and there's the need for an additional coach to match with other numbers of kids that participate in sports. And I don't know when that will come up, but that's something that's on the horizon for us. So
Thanks.
that's it.
Randy, I thought of one other thing, just
Oh,
that we want to mention. Participation fees for 21-22 school year will stay the same.
Okay.
Brian, facility update.
Good question. We never had a meeting, so.
We did not have a meeting.
Turn it over to
Everything
Mr.
I thought maybe you knew something I didn't.
oh, just the update, just things are still on course, nothing new to report. Having a few issues with a few, like everywhere else, a few items,
Okay.
are in back order with some few things. With some of the items for like the wood shop, the metal shop, they're on back order. Hopefully we'll have them by July. But other than that, other than that, everything else is still on course. Nothing new to report.
Awesome.
We start the tear down next week and remodeling of the next phase. Yep.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Matt.
We won't have a home date on that opening.
Yeah, football schedule.
Oh,
Yeah,
on the
so
football
the football
schedule.
schedule, we won't be at home that weekend of the.
Grand opening.
Grand opening. Yeah.
So it won't be like homecoming weekend like
Homecoming will tentatively probably be October 1st.
All right, moving on to personnel. We met today. Don't be as scared as it looks on the agenda. First, get to my page. All right. First, we talked about the Education Minnesota Master contract update. And we took it off the schedule to ratify it and vote on it tonight because the teachers union has not had a chance to do that themselves. So we'll bring it back next month when they have had a chance to vote it in themselves.
And we don't see any issues, they
No.
just haven't had a
They just
chance.
haven't got their chance to ratify it. Then we discussed the ACP MOU. That will not change from this year. It will be the same as it has been in the past, so there's no change. Same with the online MOU, no change in that.
What's MOU?
Memorandum of Understanding.
Memo of understanding.
Memo of Understanding. Then we discussed the principal contracts. And we agreed on all the contracts that was good with the principals. We gave a little, we won a little. It was a very good contract. I think it'll work well for both of us. So I will make a motion to accept the contract for the elementary principal.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, aye.
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 Becky? Aye. Okay, motion passes. Middle school, same kind of deal. I will make a motion to accept the middle school principal contract.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Then, roll call vote, aye?
Aye.
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 Perfect. Then we also did the high school. So I will make a motion to accept the high school contract.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
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 Becky?
Aye.
Aye. And then also the Dean of Students contract. I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Yes?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we took off the master contract. Then we discuss, district employees contracts, but I believe that was in our consent agenda to ratify them, correct?
No, it's just, I just reported that they're completed and
Okay.
they're good to go.
You're good to go. That sign is good to go. That's actually in my note. Okay, we then talked about the, superintendent evaluation process. We found that according to contract with Mr. Malberg, we need to evaluate him one time per contract during re-signing or before re-signing, which that next process starts after July 1st. So we discussed some ways that we might want to do that and different options that we both come up with and ways Steve's been on that committee before. I haven't been on that committee here, but I have done the evaluation for the director at Sourcewell before, so we were discussing things like that, but we're still in discussion on how we're gonna take care of that.
But sometime next year.
But yeah, sometime after July 1st, correct? Because that's when the contract, yeah.
Anytime in the next 3 years, we just gotta do it.
Okay. And then we just.
If I'm still here.
If you're still here. Then we discussed extending the contract for the tech integration position. We'd like to add 5 days to his contract for at the end of the school year and 5 days to the contract before the teachers come back so that he can, there was quite a list
Get all the stuff ready.
of all the stuff that needs to be done. Just for example, doing some new hire orientation prep, some the Chromebook handouts, making sure Study Island and MobiMax and all the different things are set up. And then at the end of the year, closing it all up, making sure all the computers are back, what we need to order, getting organized again. So I would like, I'm sorry?
I think we talked about, there's gonna be 10 days next year.
10 days for a year, 10 days.
10 days, yeah, five at the beginning and 5 at the
Five
end.
at the end.
Yeah,
But
and this
if
year
we
we're going
needed
to
an
take care of the
extra
5 out of
Five at
different.
the end of this year, but
Yeah, we were gonna take those 5 out of something different,
something else, yeah.
not because we'd like to add the full 10 to next year, 5 at the beginning, 5 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I would like to make a motion to add those, that's the, no. Yeah, it's in there, number 7. I'd like to make a motion to extend the teacher integration, the tech integration specialist by 10 days.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
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 Becky?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The Sourcewell Educators of Excellence, that was the end of our meeting, unless you had anything else, Steve?
No, you got everything.
Okay. Excuse me. The Sourcewell 2021 Educators of Excellence program was on a week or so ago. I don't know if anybody got a chance to watch it. They did a very nice online job. We missed the dinners, I'll be honest. But, the winners this year were Kelly Klemick, Jamie Finstad, and Zach Corellis. So congratulations to them.
Well deserving.
Yes, definitely.
And then I would like to make a motion to approve the 2021-2023 contract for the Director of Teacher and Learning. We have found a new hire for that. It's getting bailed on. No judgment.
I handed out to you on that bottom of the kind of a.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I handed out to you the information, effective date and his pay scale, and just added on the sheet there what his salary would be, just for you to see.
Any discussion on the contract for Director of Teaching and Learning?
Is this a good guy?
Well, it'd be tough to replace David. Obviously,
Yeah.
David's done a great job. He's got, I'm excited for Ryan to join our team. David's put us in a great place with the things that David has done. I'm excited for Ryan's background in math, as a math teacher. I'm excited for Ryan's previous experience as a as a curriculum and teaching and learning person at Shakopee and Prior Lake. So he comes with us with some experience as well. I think he'll be a good team member for us as well. I think he'll pick up. It'll be nice for him to spend a few days with David in June as well, which will help us as well. But I'm excited for it. But Ryan will be a good addition.
Awesome. So if there's no other discussion, any other questions?
Aye.
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 Becky?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. And moving on to policy.
We didn't meet again, but
Just second reading of policy 606.
Yeah. What was it again? You know?
606 is if there is a parent that doesn't like a textbook that's offered in a class, them giving an alternative following I think it was a 3 or 4 step piece of paper trail process that it was actually reviewed by each committee as well as the superintendent and went back to the teacher, create an alternative plan, and then the parent superintendent group could meet and approve the plan or the change, and added some more verbiage to the policy. It just needed some more
And I think it
details.
actually goes to the district leadership team
Yep.
for review too.
And it just needed more
Back.
details to, if parents had concerns, yeah.
Clear.
Yep.
Okay. And budget. Becky, did you have anything before I turn it over to Missy?
Nope, we didn't meet, and Missy may have a report.
Okay. Missy?
I don't have much to report tonight. I was just gonna let you know that the state legislature did not settle on the budget, so there will be a special session in June, around June 14th. So that'll give us better guidance for budgeting for next school year, but as of right now, it's just an estimate. So we will approve our FY 21-22 budget in June, but it will be on estimated revenue numbers.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
No? Okay. Any questions for anybody? No? Okay.
Becky, you being remote is causing this meeting to go way too long. All these
Yeah, Becky being remote was the reason for that. Good one, I like that. Now, moving into other, learning model plan and COVID-19 update.
I don't have much there other than obviously, the governor released, changed the mask mandate for everybody but schools at this point, through the end of the school year. So we are still at schools wearing, the mask is still there. I sent out an update to all of our parents and students on Thursday. So we still will wear the mask at school through Friday, the last day. Our COVID numbers are pretty much where we've been the last week, here and there, case up and down, not very many, still about the same.
counties at about 40.
Yeah, nothing here at school, nothing major changed here. So nothing there to really report there, nothing different. I do have an addition, I want to talk a little bit about on the number 9 there, a little bit about what to do with summer school, some direction there with you guys. But nothing there other than that.
Summer school and ESY, am I supposed to call that the SE update?
ESY, extended school year is what that
Oh, okay.
stands for
So
those of you that maybe
using
knew.
the initials was the right thing.
Yeah, extended school year, that's for kids, that's a special ed term for kids that are offered extended school year services if they show regression.
Yeah.
Josh and Wade gave you those updated numbers for ESY for summer school. So I just wanted to give you those, you have those numbers of how many kids would be in that program in the summer. Those update for that. So you can have that in your packet. That's just an update for that. One of the things that I would touch base in on summer school, we do have about 50 kids or so that are signed up for summer school. We're gonna have a tough time finding staff for that. I don't know, Freshwater is who we run summer school through. We've upped the amount that we will pay summer school to see if we can get some of our staff to do that. However, they're burned out. I don't know if we're gonna be able to find 4 teachers to do that in the elementary level.
Is
We
it
do have one.
every day?
Excuse me?
What's the guidelines for summer? Is it every?
No, Monday through Thursday. It's 3 weeks long.
Okay.
It's 8 to 12.
Okay.
Freshwater does require to be our own staff members to do it. Or somebody who's worked here as a teacher. So we've upped the dollar amount to see if we can get some people to do it. Part of the problem is if you have to pay daycare or things like that, or if you're going to school. So it limits the number of people who can do it. If we can't find people to do it, I don't know what the option might be that we won't be able to offer summer school in the elementary. So we've sent out another email today. We've upped the amount that we'll pay.
So we've got 0 people that are willing to do it
Well,
so
we've
far?
gotten 2.
2.
Well, 1 for sure. Maybe 2.
Can we get subs to do that?
No, it has to be our own staff.
Okay.
And can we limit, like, okay, we've got 2 staff members, so.
Well, it's a little bit hard
First
because
need
of
or-
how it fits with the grade level and what kids, so,
So it can't be worst need gets
yeah,
first priority.
yeah, might be hard to do that. So we'll see, we're gonna try to see if we can work through it, but just an FYI, we do have a middle school teacher that's gonna do it for the middle school. So we'll run that program. We have 15 kids signed up for that. 16 kids signed up that will do that. So we do have that teacher committed to do that. But we don't know about the elementary, so just FYI. ESY, we have that covered. But we have, since we upped the summer school rate for ESY, we have to also up the summer school special ed rate too. So it's paid out of a different program, but if you're gonna pay the higher rate for the one, it's only fair to pay the higher rate for the other. So because we couldn't find any to do this one, these people now are gonna get higher rate. So, which is only fair, but, so we're gonna use some ESSER funds to pay the higher rate here for this year to see if we can get some more people interested in doing it, but, that's where we're at right now. So we'll see if we can get some people to do it.
And just out of curiosity, are the dates on the summer school set, or like the 4 teachers that we need all agree, hey, we wanna do it on these weeks, so we can move it?
It didn't really seem to matter. Josh asked that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was still the same
It's an
issues. It's still the same issues. Daycare,
Yeah.
other commitments.
Is it the month of June? Is usually.
We're doing June is when we do it, yeah. Because we asked if August, would it matter?
No.
Yeah, cause you're not as burnt out in
Still,
August maybe as you
same
are in June.
issues, just,
Well, good luck.
we'll see where we come up, but just an FYI, it's not that we're not trying.
The Pillager School Forest Report,
Yeah.
I think we were all emailed the report.
Yeah, so, you saw the letter, we would propose to name Carl Kaufman, who's been a very good, proponent for the forest, came with an idea that he would like to name the main route through the school forest, the Enberg Trail Loop. And you got the letter as to why. He is a, proponent for, I believe, if I remember right, I read the letter, now I forgot. I think, is he the DNR agent?
No, Rod was the logger that
Logger, yep.
did all the work.
So I don't know if you guys are okay with that. I guess that would be an action item.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I think Rod's done a lot of work out there. For
And I
the
think it's just
school.
a sign that Carl would like to put out
Yeah,
there.
I
is
know.
what he'd like to do.
Yeah, do we need to build a sign and put it up, or how's
I
that?
think Carl would do that. Yeah, I think that's what Carl was like.
Okay.
He's probably already got it. He's got permission to pound it in the ground.
Yeah.
Just my
But I
thought.
couldn't go that way.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So,
Aye.
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 Becky?
Aye.
Aye. It is now the Enberg Trail Loop. We also have a proposal to name the Aspen Regeneration Area, the Al Sharp Aspen Regeneration Area.
Same thing, it's, he's the DNR agent
He is the
Yes.
DNR agent, yes.
that was involved with him.
He does a lot of harvest planning and such.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second.
Any discussion? No? Cass?
Aye.
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 Aye. We now have the Enberg Trail Loop and the Al Sharp Aspen Regeneration Area.
Yeah, flip it over.
Yes. Now, graduation commencement date and time.
Graduation is Friday. At this time, it's planned to be outside at 7 PM. Weather permitting, which right now, knock on wood, it still looks pretty good. So hopefully this Friday night, we'll be outside at 7 PM.
I did see the percent go up today and I was like, ooh. Brian and Randy are the ones going to graduation board members?
Yes, we are.
Nice job. Okay. Guideline decision for district summer programming for COVID-19 restrictions.
So I received an email today and I forgot to print it off. So we have to follow the safe learning plan through the last teacher day, which is for us Friday. Then after that, we can, as a school, decide what we do for summer programming for mask wearing, quarantining, following all the other guidelines. We can decide as a school, like social distancing, all those options as a school. I would, if we have summer school in the elementary, and obviously as I read through that, knowing that where we're at, I think my recommendation would be, as I read through the guidelines, knowing that we have summer ball, knowing my nurses wore out, I think my recommendation would be starting with summer school to eliminate the mask wearing at summer school and not worry about the quarantining and just go as normal. And if we get different direction for the fall, we follow those directions. That would be my recommendation. Once we get through the end of the school year or our last teacher day, we go back as normal. That would be my recommendation to you guys, but we have to decide that as a school. And it is up to us as an individual school from the guidance that I have today for summer programming.
Anybody want to make a motion on that, one way or the other?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
One more discussion, I guess. I'm thinking, Mike, you're saying we're not, wouldn't you tell people still they should quarantine if they got COVID?
That this, right, if the person is tested positive, they do, yes, but we're not quarantining, we're not quarantining the people around them.
Okay.
Is my take on what?
Yeah.
If the kid is in summer ball and has COVID, they're quarantined. But the team members aren't quarantined around them.
Okay.
That's my understanding. It's very confusing from it's three different, follow this, follow that. And then I sat down with Josh and Wade and Matt today, and the last thing I saw, it looked like, unless I see something different, and it says more directions coming out in the next few weeks, but from what I wanted to meet today to get if something changes in the next
Yeah,
week.
we have to follow whatever guideline comes up.
But from what I saw today, it said the individual schools can decide on the following areas: mask wearing, social distancing, after the last day of the teacher contract, which is for us Friday. So knowing that I won't have a nurse here, knowing I won't have, my recommendation, unless I see something different, what I'm hearing from you guys is Summer school, the kitchen office staff, they won't need to wear a mask if they've been vaccinated, you know.
Which we can't ask, so.
We can ask, right. I would say my recommendation from what I hear from you guys is
Motion is.
the motion would be as is.
Going back to common sense, if
Common-
you're sick, if you get swabbed for COVID, you stay home until you're negative. If you're sick, you do not attend.
But if your son or daughter is COVID, you
Then you
obviously
stay
don't come to the game and summer ball.
Right.
But the 6 kids that were there yesterday with the kid, they're not quarantined and they can go play the game.
Yes.
That's,
And this will just be through summer, obviously, there'll be some guidelines
Yes.
for open schools next fall.
right, this is just summer school, right.
Okay.
Well, I would actually recommend that we don't tie Mike's hands by passing a resolution, but say, hey, Mike, you make the call. Because if we get a whole bunch of cases in a class or something, he may want to change his mind. And if we make a board resolution, he's not going to have that flexibility.
Well, my question with that, and I see where you're going, and I kind of agree with you, but my question with that would be, then who's looking at all the quarantine data? Who's gonna track it? Because we don't have anybody on staff for the summer to track it. I think that's probably the main reason to drop it.
Well,
Because- But that's my question to you.
yeah, we wouldn't know that. It would be,
Yeah.
hey, is half the team sick because this and we need to quarantine this team or something. Let Mike make those decisions. Hey, I'm gonna have folks that are inside the
Well, if I have to
school.
quarantine, I'm not quarantining a team. We're canceling the game because just like we would if we had the flu in the wintertime, because we don't have enough kids to play.
Yeah.
Right. It's not quarantining, we just don't have kids to play a game or whatever. I don't have staff to show up to cook lunch or something.
So the question,
Let's
my question is, to his point, do we need to have it as fluid as possible if we have to make a decision?
All I know is MDE said it's up to the school to decide, so.
Well, maybe what we need to do is break this resolution down a little. We as a board make a resolution that masks will not be required. Quarantining and game cancellations would be on a needed basis, something like that.
Well, but let's
What else
say
is there?
you have a class, a summer school class where a couple of kids get COVID.
Then we have
Those
to
kids
cancel.
stay home, the other
Yeah.
kids come to school.
We have to
but then
cancel
would
all
you
of
want
summer
the
school.
rest of the
We wouldn't
class to
cancel
wear
summer
masks?
school.
I think we just let her buck. I think let's make a resolution, let's run as normal, and if we have those emergencies or we have those circumstances come up, I mean, people gotta take responsibility at some point.
And if they're uncomfortable, they won't be sending,
Yeah.
kids can wear masks, kids can continue to social distance.
Nothing wrong with wearing if they want to.
That's the other thing that needs to be discussed on there, is what do we recommend for social distancing? Are we worrying about that, or are we at this point, you know what, it is
It went
what
from
it is?
6 feet to 3 feet.
Well,
So,
that's my point is baseball,
Yeah,
kids in the
you don't know.
dugout,
Yeah, right.
they're not social distancing right now.
you can't social distance a first baseman.
We're not social
and-
distancing in our elementary classroom right now,
No,
so why are we worrying about it in summer school?
Yeah, if the recommendation from Minnesota Department of Education, they said the science isn't there anymore for us to do this, why are we doing it? And why are we trying to tackle that when they
I think
decided
there
it's
just
not
needs
that
to be
big
an
of a problem?
email to students of sports, summer school. Here's the guidelines. If you have a
Yeah.
concern
So I think,
before this date of when the school nurse is
so
out
I
of
would say,
office.
Matt,
or-
in my opinion, here's what I would send out. If kids in summer school, we would just send out masks are not being required, we're not social distancing. if you have COVID or symptoms, keep your child home.
That's it.
And then in community ed, Matt would say the same thing for kids in summer ball. Keeping it very simple, that would be my.
So we have a motion and a second on the table to drop our mask mandate, not worry as much about social distancing, and rely on families and parents to keep their sick kids home. So I said at this point, I think we've had a discussion, I'd say we vote. So
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
Aye.
I will send before we send the communication out, I will send it to you guys so you can all see so you can kind of see what it will say, be like.
Perfect.
From Matt and myself for the summer.
We are at the superintendent report.
I don't have a lot. I had a lot of this. So tomorrow's gonna be a busy day if you got some time. We have a home track meet, home softball game, home baseball game. We have district leadership team meeting at retreat. District leadership team tomorrow at 3:30. Leadership retreat, the whole admin team will be June 22nd, 23rd. We have a full agenda for that group. One of the biggest issues there is going to be, we do have Brainerd starting their online school. So one of the pieces that we'll have to figure out is what does our online or distance learning look like for next year? Will we use Edmentum? Will we use Ingenuity for kids that do want to do distance learning? What does that look like for us? So we'll have to kind of sort through that because we may still have to offer distance learning. Health committee insurance, we have a couple big meetings in June for our bids. And the last thing I'm going to share with you is Chad and his video group is working on a video, it'll be about 5 minutes long to help promote our school. Kind of talk about all the good things. That will be a Facebook ad for us, kind of will promote school. Also be on our website. Some of the schools are using some ESSER dollars for advertising, trying to bring kids back. I don't know if we want to do some of that or not. I'm kind of really counting on Chad and his video kids to be the seller of our school rather than buying radio ads. I think from what I've seen in the past, trying to recruit employees, Facebook has done way better than anything else for us. So I think I invested in Chad and our video kids to promote our school. I think that's a much better promo than sending out. Brainerd is sending out postcards. I know that too. I did hear that. They did for kindergarten, but they're going to do that as well for other things. But that is an option if you guys want me to look into some of that.
Well, how many kids are going to be out? How many will not come back? Do we have a percentage?
I don't know. We lost about 70 kids. Where I'd heard back from about I think 15 to 20 of those that were going to come back. I've not heard back from some of the others. So what that looks, I think a lot of them will decide when they hear masks. I think a big part of that were masks. I think that's going to be a bigger piece of that. Some of them that went online might still be online.
Because a lot of kids, not a lot, I would say, but I've heard from some parents, their kid liked it, and then others were like,
And thrived on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then some chose private, and some, so it'll be interesting. I don't know what that answers. Some might come. I know of a couple that have talked about coming because we were open all year, most of the most part. One of them a couple of them came here because their kids went somewhere else and they weren't there. Even a couple of our own teachers brought their kids here and now they're staying here. So I don't know. I don't have that answer. But is it a bad investment? I don't know. Do you spend some dollars on radio ads? I don't know.
I don't know if I would on radio.
I think I would either. I did just
Radio, I do push Facebook or social media before I do radio.
Yeah.
Chad's got this.
Everybody goes past the radio ads.
I agree. I mean, that's why I had Chad. I met with Chad and the kids and I said, I think the video's a much better way to go. But I just wanted to share with you that some are doing that. I think Chad said he even heard.
Unless you're buying Sirius XM or something, which you can't afford, nobody's listening to,
Cash 95, sorry, seniors, so.
I actually do listen to local radio.
I did buy some ads
And
for,
get rid of Sirius XM because I'm too cheap to purchase
Yeah.
that, but I would agree, I flip the channel when I.
Did you get more enrollment for kindergarten?
last numbers, we were still in the 80s.
Okay.
Is what we're predicting. So I did buy some ads for the senior cash 95 out of the superintendent account, but just to promote the seniors. But
I
other
think
than
the
that,
Booster Club did too.
so I just wanted to throw that out there because I know you might see some postcards from Brainerd. And you wonder, why didn't we do that? Well, you could, but I opted to go this route. I thought that was a better route.
I actually kind of like
I'd
that.
say
route
save the
myself.
paper. I'd say save.
For it,
Anything else from anybody?
Is there a night seniors are on Cash 95, or
Last-
have you done that? in the
last
past?
week.
Yeah, last Friday.
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
It's probably archived, you could probably go back and. A lot of their
Hey, my
stuff
kid was on that.
Did you
I
record
missed
it?
it.
No, no, it's archived online, you can get it.
I can find it somewhere.
Can I get a motion to
I
adjourn?
know it's
I'll
there.
make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Now you can.